city traffic, it's not getting any easier to get around. But what about if you're an emergency vehicle? How do you cope with the frustrations of driving in the city like this ambulance, and who are the men and women behind the wheel? Well, this week we're going to try and find out, and we're going to begin our story by joining Steve Grant.
Now, when you hear a siren like that, whether it's coming from an ambulance, a fire truck, or a police cruiser, it usually only means one thing: somebody's in trouble somewhere. And for the men and women who drive these vehicles, the idea is to get to an emergency as quickly as possible, but in a very controlled manner. This is not a job for hell drivers.
Units 209 and 210, the information comes back on that vehicle. The vehicle was just reported stolen. It's just been involved in a shooting at Wilson Heights Boulevard in Shepherd, apartment 2050. It's believed the occupant went into their premises, shot somebody with a shotgun, left the premises after his drug deal went sour at 10-4.
What you're watching is a mock police pursuit. The unmarked Chevy is driven by the suspect. Real or not, it's a stressful situation for the police. Not only do they have to keep up with the bad guy through a series of obstacles, they also have to keep up the lines of communication through two-way radio.
We get officers that have been on the job from anywhere from 3 to 30 years, and the response we get is phenomenal. As you say, the officers are in the cars a lot, and they're always willing to learn and be educated, and they come up here, and some of them realize that the skills that they've developed, or the bad habits that they've developed, are affecting their skills. And they come up here and they reintroduce themselves to some of the skills that they forgot, and they realize how they can improve their ability.
Suspect stay in the vehicle.
A lot of it is experience, some of it is education, but yes, I-lead, what we term I-lead, is so important so that you can identify and predict what we call the critical path, and you can predict any potential hazards so that when you're looking up well ahead, you can do that. If you're looking down on the road surface or at the vehicle in front of you, I'm afraid all you can ever do is react to what the person is doing in front of you. And that, I'm afraid, is what most drivers tend to do.
Okay, guys. Now on this side, we're going to be doing what's called high performance driving. You're going to be driving to a call, all right? And then after you complete that portion, okay, you're going to drive the same course again, but with a patient.
Metro Toronto ambulance personnel share the same skid pad with the police, and for this crew, defensive driving is #1 on the priority list.
That's correct. Our profession has grown to the point where you used to only worry about the actual patient care training. Now we have to be very, very concerned about what it takes to drive, and be more aware that if, all of the patient care training in the world is not all it takes to save someone's life. You have to have good driver education. We also focus a lot on physical fitness.
Anytime that will take a sharp turn, the machine will go off. If it's too rough, the turns are too fast, okay?
We're out driving when most of the people in the middle of a snowstorm are home safely and the cars are in the garages. Our people are out there, and we recognize they face some pretty horrendous difficulties. They not only the skill of keeping the car on the road, they've got to worry about accessing the patient, how do they park their vehicle, and most important, how are they going to negotiate through the either the snow, the ice or the sleet, or just dense traffic, which is a combination of the same elements. Or a summer's day, what you're faced with is, does the other motorist realize the potential for an emergency to take place? Have they kept themselves in a defensive driving mode? Are they driving defensively?
We have our share of accidents like any other emergency service, and a lot of them, funny enough, are not major. You have a lot of very minor accidents where crews in a rush, they arrive on an emergency call, the partner's tied up doing patient care, The person behind the wheel has to back into a tight spot and, you know, bang, they hit a wall or they hit another vehicle. They're the most common types of accidents that we have. By taking the crews through very slow skill testing types of maneuvers where, you know, some of them will just say it's monotonous time and time again, but we feel that it's time well spent in practicing backing into tight spots and so on, where they really get used to maneuvering the vehicle with using the mirrors only. They don't have any other assistance. You know, people dial 911 an emergency, they hang up the phone and they sit there and they wait, and sometimes in an emergency 60 seconds will go by, and some people describe that as minutes. What we like to see people do, especially in the evening hours when it's dark, if they're calling us to their residence for assistance, go outside, turn on the light, make sure that when they see us coming down the road that they motion to us. We know exactly where we're going, and that can help reduce very, very important response time.